bring in a guy that handles these situations on a daily basis, and this is NFL offseason, so we're going to bring in NFL agent and very popular radio host Mike Abadir. Mike, what's going on, brother? How's everything? I hear you loud and clear, brother.
Everything is going well, man. You know, this is a nice surprise. I thought it was just radio, but apparently you got my mug on here. It's a video, radio. You do it all, Pop.
Yeah, baby. Which guy? If they want to throw, hey, we do it both ways, so I can just go ahead and show my pretty face just real quick.
Well, I didn't get prepared, with my suit and all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of everybody's at home working now. You know what I mean? So you get to be casual, not shave, wear your ball cap backwards.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Me earlier, I got a gray suit that's been waiting to be put on for the last 3 months. I would have loved to put it on today. But since opening day for training camp in baseball, I went ahead and wore the Grays jersey as a ode to the great Josh Gibson today.
Absolutely.
He's getting so much love now. All right.
You know what, by the way, and don't mean to interrupt, but in last week's radio show that I had, I actually featured a little bit of the Negro Leagues because did you see MLB's decision last week?
Yeah, about keeping record of the
stats and stuff.
Right.
I thought that was kind of a long overdue ruling, and I'm so happy that it's now incorporated into MLB's record books. Even though the league is no longer with us, that will live on forever. Those players, those numbers, those statistics, etc. So, big shout out to MLB for that. I'm a huge baseball fan, by the way. So, I'm going to copy Bo Jackson here for a second. Baseball's my girlfriend. Football's my hobby. Right. So baseball is my first love. That's what Bo used to always say, So even though I'm in the football business, baseball is my love. So we could talk little baseball if anytime, man.
Oh, no problem. We'll talk some Dodgers. It's not a problem at all. I just got done talking about the Orioles being a sneaky, not a playoff team, but a sneaky value team for you.
Is that like over under wise or what?
Over 66 wins for them. I think they're a 7-win team this season. I think they got a lot of good young prospects on the team, and Santander should be even better this season. The guy had a really good season for a short year on a bad team. You know what I mean? So
they got off to a nice start last year. Remember, in the shortened season, they got off to a really nice start.
Yes, they did. They got off to a very, very sharp start, and I think that might be a confidence booster for them coming into this season as well, too. That's why
absolutely
I think the over 66 wins is a possibility for them this season. Now, from what I'm seeing here, we got Mr. J.J. Watt. He is the one, but let's go ahead and talk about these two rookies real quick. We got Trevor Lawrence and we got Justin Fields. Who's going to be the better pro, Mike?
Trevor Lawrence, big news today is that he just had a surgery on his non-throwing shoulder. He's expected to be out for about 6 to 8 weeks. He should be ready in time for training camp, so that's not going to be a problem. Here's the thing. I haven't heard as much hype about a quarterback coming out, such as Lawrence, probably in terms of a can't-miss type of prospect, probably since Peyton Manning or probably since Peyton Manning, I would say. Maybe Andrew Luck, because those have been the two biggest, and ironically, they both were with the Colts. That says a lot about their performance on the field, getting these number 1 draft picks. But, when it comes to can't miss prospects, the track record has been pretty good. A lot better than first round prospects, because out of first rounders, there's only about less than 20% that are still in the league after 3 years, which is an amazing stat. I think Lawrence is the better of the two, but I think Fields is kind of going to be that exciting player that maybe has a really nice stretch, 4, 5, 6, 7 games where he's doing things like maybe Hurts did last year. Remember with the Eagles, Hurts came in and was a great spark plug. But I always say it's a lot easier to come off the bench when expectations are not as high than to start the year off. So I think a lot of it really is going to depend, Pop, on which team these guys are playing for. You know, if either of these guys go to the Jets, I mean, God bless them. I wouldn't want to go. The Jets have been a quarterback killer. Don't matter which quarterback it is. If you go to the Jets, it's been a quarterback killer. Unless they can prove otherwise, I would say whoever goes to the Jets is likely to be a failure.
And on the Jets, from what I'm hearing right now, is the Jets are thinking about interior players right now. I think from what I'm hearing that Sam Darnold is to be, give him one more shot with this new coach, Salah, and Salah is a good guy, and I think that he knows the hype that Sam Darnold has, and he can cut on the tape and know that Sam Darnold with some protection, with some time, can be your guy. You know what I mean? But I'm with you though. I just keep seeing Mark Sanchez in the headlights because Sam Darnold is an immense talent, just like Mark was. And it's just, and they're ruining it because you don't have the fan support that you should have. It's not all the quarterback's fault. If we don't want to have a good offensive line, if our coach wants to be the star of the team instead of being a star, that was Mark's problem with having Ryan there. He wanted to be the star of the team. And it seemed like Adam Gase became the star of the Jets as well, too. In the Sam Darnold time, even though he didn't ask for it, he still was the main topic of discussion every single Sunday as the game ended. And it's like, wow, we're investing way too highly in talking about the head coach. And I think that pretty much now they got Salah. He's going to take care of that defense. And now he brings in a good, really, really good offensive coordinator who is LaFleur's twin brother, and he brings him in as de facto. He was a passing game coordinator. Now he is the offensive coordinator, and you take those Shanahan principles and you put it to a USC quarterback. It should work. It should work, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the Jets to me have to prove something as an organization. Let me tell you something. Having represented players now for well over a decade, and I started off in this industry through the NFL. I came up through the NFL. I was with the Raiders before I even got licensed as an agent. So I was with the Raiders for 4.5, call it 5 years, and got to really see how an organization is run from within. Each of these clubs, Pop, is run like a separate franchise because they are separate franchises. And the approach is so different, ranging from the draft to coaching to the front office to player personnel. And, that's why teams kind of like Cincinnati are typically always at the bottom. They're just not a very well-run organization. Heck, Adrian Ross, a guy that I've worked with, he's a linebacker, retired linebacker, goes by Mad Backer. The Mad Backer will tell you, he was on the same team with TJ Hushmanzada and Corey Dillon and all those guys. They were all buddies. Their practice field was basically like throw a piece of turf on top of asphalt, and that's how they took care of their players. Come on, man. Give me a break. And that was as of like 13, 14 years ago. And TJ actually shared that story as well when he was on with Colin Cowherd not that long ago. The Jets and Cincy are probably two of the worst run organizations. Now, I like to give both sides. They got rid of Gase, who I think is a terrible head coach. I won't mince words. Terrible head coach. Never should have had a second chance. Okay. Look at Flores with Miami. Look at Gase with Miami. Gase had the benefit of all those Pro Bowlers and great players that left. Right? You had a DB that went to Steelers. You had a running back to Arizona. All these guys performed well. You had a lineman that went to the Texans, right? All these guys flourished once they got away from Gase. So that's factor number one in terms of the Jets. Number two is they played pretty decent ball towards the end of the year. They had a couple of pretty big upsets and a couple of really, really tough losses. Of course, everybody remembers that game against the Raiders. I mean, they had it won minus last 8 seconds of the game, 7 seconds, whatever it was. Right. So the Jets looked like they had some promise towards the end of the year. And I like seeing what teams do at the end of the year. in order to predict how things may look at the start of the following season. So I know you didn't have me on to necessarily talk about the Jets the whole time, but they're kind of an intriguing piece of the entire equation because of the ripple effect. If they don't take Lawrence or Fields, what do? Right? Do they trade that spot to a team that needs a quarterback? That's going to cause a ripple effect throughout the draft, as well as throughout the entire league. Pop, I don't know if you've really had a chance to dissect this because the season just finished, but there are more teams that have question mark at the quarterback position than teams that are settled on their QB.
Oh, yeah.
By my count, I have 14 quarterbacks that are settled with their quarterback. And that's if you give the benefit of the doubt to borderline ones. Like, does Atlanta want to move on from Matt Ryan? Right? Assuming that they keep Matt Ryan, then, that's 14 teams. That means the rest of the league needs a quarterback or needs to figure it out.
Right. And I'm totally in agreement with that because I see a lot of teams that really might need to be making some good changes and things of that nature. Now, we're talking about players changing teams and things like that. J.J. Watt has been now officially released by the Texans and everything like that. And pretty much, where do you see his best fit at?
Oh, wow. Yeah, the Texans, wow, what an organization, huh? By the time this is all done, they would have got rid of the best 3 players, losing one of the top receivers in the league in DeAndre Hopkins, one of the top D linemen in Watts, and one of the top quarterbacks in DeShaun Watson. Wow. There's word about Green Bay, there's word about Cleveland for JJ. I think it really will depend on 2 things. And I haven't looked at this contract to see, maybe bonuses and salary cap considerations that teams may be either looking at to consider proceeding with him or not. But he's going to have some escalators in there. And I guess putting all that aside, the contractual stuff, I think he wants to end up with a winner. So a lot of this is going to depend on, finding a defense where he fits well, finding a defense where he doesn't have to carry the load because he's been injury plagued these last few years, and then finding a winner. If I had to take a long shot guess, he ends up in Miami.
They weren't even in my top 5 for him because my 5 that I had there for him, I had the Rams, the Raiders, Bucks. We had the. I'm trying to remember who we had at number 2, but thing is though, pretty much with that, I'm thinking that the Packers could be the best fit for him moving forward. Because the Cowboys as well too. And I'm thinking because Jerry Jones likes these superhero type players and these names, I think that he could be a good piece for them because the way that I see JJ Watt is he'll be a situational pass rusher now. Because the arm coming out the socket years ago has made him kind of just a regular defensive lineman in the league. He hasn't been extraordinary like he was when he was the 3-time defensive player of the year. Nowhere near being extraordinary. And I think that he has to go to a situation where the team is very good and he can be a situational player. And that's going to be the best bet for him moving forward. You can't ask J.J. Watt to go out there and be J.J. Watt from 6 years ago. You have to ask J.J. Watt to just come out there and use his brain, be smart, and be able to get the job done and help out a defensive unit and make sure the quarterback's not screaming and yelling at him. And that's why I keep saying the Packers are the perfect fit because, Watt will be the first one to tell A-Rod, hey, you know what? Stick to your side of the ball, bro. You know what I mean? Because seriously,
absolutely,
that's embarrassing when your quarterback's yelling at the defense as if he's in charge of the defense as well too. Nah, that rubs some guys the wrong way. I was a defensive player.
Sure does.
Never wanted to hear from an offensive guy when we messed up.
No, exactly. No, there's no way. But let me tell you something. Why I say Miami. I say that for a couple of reasons. The first one is, at this stage of his career, you hit it on the nose. He's got to be a situational guy. Now, he's coming from Houston, a warm weather area. So he's really got to think twice. Do I want to be in sub-zero temperatures when it comes to crunch time? Is that going to be okay for his shoulders, his injuries, the issues he's dealt with over the last few years? When it gets cold, gets stiff, I don't know. So to me, weather is going to be a huge factor for him, and that's kind of why I eliminated or I leapfrogged Miami over Cleveland and Green Bay and some of these colder weather places. The second thing is Flores did a tremendous job with the Miami defense last year. Tremendous job. They were one of the top 3 defenses in the league. He came from New England. He's a Bill Belichick disciple. If you're J.J. Watt and you're looking at a top 3 defense where he could go be a situational guy, and Miami might be New England South, right? If New England's run is over, Miami's poised, them and the Bills, to take over that division. That's going to be a great rivalry for years to come. So warm weather, team on the rise, defensive-minded, opportunity to be a situational guy, doesn't have to carry the defense. Miami fits all the boxes. I think I might be lose. I don't know if can you still hear me, Pop?
Hey, and you know what? And you pretty much put me. Yeah, I can hear you breaking up just a little bit.
Okay, there you go. There you go. I hear you.
It's a little slow right now. You still there?
Yep, I'm here.
All right. Perfect. Go. All right. So let's go ahead and move forward. And pretty much here we are. We got DeShaun staying or going?
Going.
He has to go. So
Gotta go.
And
there's too much bad blood now.
Okay.
Too much bad blood. And they've seen, like I mentioned earlier, his top go-to weapons gone. They don't have a running game. They lose their defensive quarterback in J.J. Watt. Why stay? What would he even stay for?
Okay, so scenario this. 49ers. I think that's probably your best option if he's going, because you can make a trade happen with them, because you can trade salaries somewhat, even though I would think that the 49ers would have to probably do a little bit of cleaning up a little bit just to make sure that deal happens. But I would say that that will probably be the best bet for you, because Jimmy G is willing to go anywhere just to be a starter. And I think that pretty much they ran their course already. Him and Shanahan and Jimmy G, just it seems like their mix isn't the way that you would want it to be. And I'm just thinking to myself that Jimmy G will figure out a way to get back to New England somehow, some way as well too. So pretty much we can figure out a way to try to get this on a three-way deal, because now we've turned this into an NBA situation. And pretty much you need a third team now, in my opinion, to make this deal really, really happen. And, when you think about it, you have teams like Denver who can go ahead and say, you know what, let's go ahead and mortgage the future a little bit, because we got some good little wide receivers here, running backs here, got a good offensive line here. And you know what? It's real chill down here. And, Denver and Houston have always made great deals with each other. They even traded off head coaches and things of that nature. So much, I think that
that's a great fit, by the way.
One of his better fits, because I think San Francisco, it's the coaching that's going to be good for him in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if the team is going to be able to. It's going to be just like having his receivers in Houston last season if he goes to San Francisco. But we're going to talk about somebody in a moment that will make this a little bit more enticing for him if he's able to get there as well too. So pretty much that's where I think that his best fit resides at, because that's where you can make the deal at. And
can I give you two more fits? Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. Go ahead. Two more fits. Division rival. They've seen him now, 10 times plus? The Colts.
Yep.
They need a quarterback. Indoors, in a dome. They're a player away from being a championship contender, quarterback away, now that Phillip Rivers is retired. They know him really, really well. I know that they would love to have him. There's no doubt about that. They'd be a great fit. Another dome team that's kind of on the outside of the discussion, but Coach Sean Payton is very aggressive. And it seems as though Breeze will be retiring. So now they have some decisions to make. They could either go with Hill, who I think is just better off as a weapon than as your quarterback. All right. And Winston, I like Winston. I like him a lot. It's just going to depend. Are they sold on him being the guy moving forward or not? But I think he's got a great arm. I think he's got an opportunity to shine wherever he ends up. So really, I guess the bottom line is if the Saints feel that Winston's their guy, great. Jameis it'll be. If not, I would expect them to make a serious push for Deshaun Watson.
As they should. As they should.
But I like your Denver pick. I think that one makes a lot of sense. And Pop, we got a little history with John Elway snagging top-level quarterback, while he still has something in the tank. We saw that with Peyton Manning. So we know Elway will pull the trigger.
Right. And that's what I'm looking at as well, too, because they're trying to figure out, are they with Locke or without Locke? And the way that season went last year, I would think you will be wanting to find yourself a new quarterback because the kid is good. The kid is good, but I think he's better off being a backup because you can bring him in certain situations and he'll be good